all the respected participants from various institutions all over Maharashtra. It's a very good initiative taken by MS Gosavi Polytechnic to arrange this FDP, which will educate the faculties about the recent trends, new developments in the electrical engineering, because energy scenario is rapidly changing, and it is necessary that we should shape our students to meet those challenges and intellectually fit to the future requirement. So this FDP of 3 days will certainly help the faculties to understand lot many things, and I would request all the participants at the end of the session, your questions will be most welcome. As usual, this presentation is protected under copyright. About my academic background, already Madam has shared. Now, when it comes to the recent trend in electrical engineering, I graduated my electrical in 1971 from Government College of Engineering, Pune. At that time, whatever was the scenario and the present scenario, there is a drastic change. The first and most significant change you will notice when you travel, at that time steam locomotives were used. There was no electrical locomotive on other routes except Pune, Mumbai and Igatpuri, Mumbai. All other routes, they were operated by steam locomotive. And as on today, if you see, major part of the railway traction is operated on electric traction. And it has been declared by our Honorable Prime Minister Modi sir that by end of 2025, 100% Indian Railway will be electrified. Even diesel locos which were manufactured at Varanasi, they have been stopped. It was diesel loco workshop. Now it has been renamed as electric loco workshop, ELW. So that is a significant change. Regarding renewable energy, you are seeing there are various schemes coming out. India is the first country to form an independent cabinet ministry at central level, Ministry of New and Renewable Energy. And again, Maharashtra is also the first state in India to have independent ministry for renewable energy. So obviously, when renewable energy gets injected into the conventional energy, there are lot many advantages, there are lot many challenges. I would take you back to 3 examples. Between 1996 to 1999, there were 2 cascaded tripping of the western grid, and every time, both time, it was blamed that Gujarat has drawn excess power, once from Balsari feeder and another time from Navsari feeder, and that led to the low frequency, means the demand was more, supply was less. When this scenario takes place, it goes into low frequency and the low frequency trip operates. Consequently, the grid fails, and if it is a cascaded failure, failure is not only the serious problem, but restoring the grid is much more serious problem. As an electrical engineer, hardly anyone gets an opportunity. I was one of the lucky. In second cascaded tripping, I was at Paregaon near Aurangabad. Mr. A.M. Achalkar was the chief engineer, and I was able to witness the restoring of the grid, which is a very critical, technologically, skillfully. So, and again, if you go back to August 2012, northern grid failure, the demand was more from central India to the northern grid. Because of the more demand from the northern side, the central India to northern India grid failed. Then again, presentation is missing. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
हाँ, मैं मध्येच ते गेलेलं होतं म्हणून मला जरा डाऊट आला.
नहीं सुरू
नहीं
आहे
नहीं
सर.
सुरू आहेत सर.
Okay. Then in 2012, if you recollect, excess demand from the northern side that made the central to northern grid fail because of the low frequency. Sushil Kumar Shinde was the energy minister. Our people are very expert to handle the disastrous condition. They restored the grid, but again, by the time he started beating his drum, grid again failed. And the second failure was due to excessive generation and less demand. His first failure was due to low frequency, and second failure was due to high frequency. So these are all the various challenges. Why this happens? What are the role of different organizations, different players, different stakeholders? That we are going to see. What are the technological features which can control this, which can avoid this, and which can make the grid work smoothly? Because energy security is related with the economy of the nation. I have drafted renewable energy policy of Gujarat when on minister, and even the Sabarmati canal, 10 megawatt canal rooftop PV, that is my brainchild and my design. So when the policy was to be declared and drafted, at that time Modi had said she want to create such a energy security in Gujarat that any investor from outside the Gujarat state or outside India should be prompted to jump into Gujarat. So energy security is so critical, which is directly related with the economy of the nation, that energy security attracts the investors. Energy security keeps on wheels moving, because that keeps on your employment active, and the productivity is depending on again energy. So the production which lead to the market rolling as well as export. So energy is a very crucial, critical and important aspect. Now what are the recent trends in this which we had not heard earlier? First is, now everyone talks about that is why I have taken this at the beginning first, top one, as artificial intelligence. And now everybody talks about the artificial intelligence. What exactly it is? See, artificial intelligence, it's a capability of the computational system to perform the task without human intervention every time, because it acts as a self-healing grid. Now the things are moving very rapidly. One important thing I'll tell you, I have deeply studied European smart grid, where the generation due to renewable forecasted and the demand is forecasted. So entire European countries, it's a group of countries, they are controlled by algorithm. Say one example, let us consider. Norway has declared, it has forecasted that from 12 o'clock to 3 o'clock we will have ample of solar power. We will pump in so many million units or giga units to the European grid. At that time Germany may not have solar, may not have wind, so they have to fully depend on base generation which is operated on fossil fuel. Then Germany automatically declares that I will absorb that power. So this is all without any intervention of the human element, which is controlled by forecasting. Two important factors are there: forecasting of the generation by renewable and demand of the consumer. Consumer may be industrial, agricultural, private, domestic, public utility, maybe any consumer. So demand by the consumer and the power injected to the grid, that is entirely controlled by algorithm. You will be surprised that European grid is operating since 1997 without failure. They, up to 2013-14, they had prediction, very accurate prediction of 3 hours accuracy, and now they are operating with very accurate prediction of 30 minutes, and they are aiming on 3 minutes. So forecasting of the generation and forecasting of the demand. So all this is controlled by artificial intelligence. Second thing, if anything goes wrong, especially railway traction or the mobile services, they all, if any fault is developed, it automatically goes into self-healing mode, or it automatically switches from one feed side to the another feed. Second is, obviously, when it is operated with artificial intelligence, the another important thing is Internet of Things, because everything has to go through the cloud. Maybe the monitoring, maybe the control, or maybe the forecasting. Everything has to go through the cloud. When it comes to the cloud, it comes under IoT, Internet of Things, or Industrial Internet of Things. When these two things are there, the third step automatically emerges. Because of the time constraint, I have to go a little bit fast because the topic is very large. The third thing automatically comes is the smart grid. What is smart grid? Where sag and swell, the power quality is very important. Earlier, the term power quality was not there at all. The power and quality, people were surprised. And now power quality has become important term because all your machines are computerized machines, NC machines you call it, VMCs, NCs, where the power fluctuation plays a very significant role. Power failure leads to alert.
Yes, sir. Go, sir.
If it goes off, please alert me.
Yes, sir.
So what is a smart grid? Where power quality is maintained. That is the first thing. What are the major factors of the power quality? It is the frequency, very important. Because all AC machines are very highly sensitive to the frequency and the wave shape. Second thing, sag and swell, means it may be temporary, it may be repetitive, it may be oscillating, means excessive voltage surge or low voltage surge, which is called sag and swell. So they are very critical, they are to be controlled. Third and another important aspect is uninterrupted supply, scheduled and unscheduled interruptions. So continuity of the power supply is very important. Assured and quality power supply is very important. Where all these things are automatically controlled by earlier two factors, it is AI and IoT, then it gets converted to smart grid. I gave an example of European smart grid, which is a role model. If at all any one of you get a chance to travel Europe and get interacted with the European Power Agency, please do study that. India is gradually migrating towards smart grid, but it is going to take a lot of time because lot of sensors, lot of controllers, lot of algorithm. Now here one surprising thing I was sharing with you, European smart grid is operating since a long with forecasting and prediction and everything, prediction of the demand. But US is still depending on hardware. They are not fully depending on algorithm. It is a surprising thing. They have parallel algorithm as well as hardware redundancy. I do not know, I am very much surprised. The major players or players in US I have met, I have discussed with them, and I found that they are not having trust on the full trust on this algorithm. Third thing, say when maybe at the substation may be utility substation. Now, as I said, railway is migrating to 100% electrification. TSS, transmission substation, means traction substations, TSS. So everywhere human being is involved. At substations, maybe 33 kV, maybe 400 kV, or maybe HVDC. Again, when a human being is involved, there is a hazard, there is a risk. Now there are various types of variables are developed. Now say you have to have communication with the concerned control authority or somebody. At that time, if one hand is engaged, your operation capability is badly hampered. So there are many devices which are variable. One variable device which is known commonly to common man and public is a smart watch. A smart watch that gives you how much cycling you have done, how many steps you have walked. But these smart watches which are used in power sector, they are giving lot many data, lot many indication. When you are going in the vicinity of high voltage, they alert you. When you are doing some function that provides you communication facility, then in case of emergency, that automatically provides an interlock facility also. Say if I am wearing such as energy smartwatch and I am operating at certain point which is a very sensitive, and accidentally from some other end the power is switched on, it may lead to death or it may lead to any disaster. At that time the smart device automatically lock the incoming side. So even deliberately somebody tries, he cannot switch it on. So all such devices are there, n number of devices you will find which are widely used worldwide. In India, still they are not becoming much popular. So these wearable devices, even the jackets and all that, say these are the things which are giving you protection, anti-static, because static electricity plays a hazardous role in maintaining the system. So such variables are available. One major common point, electrical vehicle. Everybody talks about the EV. Now EV, it is an opportunity, but at the same time EV is a big challenge. First challenge is that if the electrical vehicles are charged by grid electricity, it's a foolish thing. It's a silly thing. The reason is that in India now still we are depending on fossil fuel. Our base generation is majorly comes from coal, FO or LNG. So when I charge my vehicle using coal-based electricity, say the 1 unit when I consume here, I have to generate 1.5 units at the generating station. And as you know well, to generate 1 unit of electricity, you need 800 grams of the coal, and you have to evaporate about 2.2 to 4.8 kg liters of the water, depending upon the technology which is used. So let us assume at least 2 to 2.5 liters of the water is evaporated. Water is becoming day by day very scarce. Coal resources are depleting. Burning of the coal leads to emission of the 6 greenhouse gases. So obviously, if I am charging my electrical vehicle using such grid power, it's a silly and foolish thing. The electrical vehicle, of course, in the next factory it is coming, charging stations. All the electrical vehicle charging must be based on renewable energy. Then and then only electrical vehicle technology will make sense, and it will lead to green technology or emission zero carbon or carbon neutrality. This is one thing. Second challenge is that when automotive started, the first automotive was electrical. Later on, diesel, petrol was invented, and the electrical vehicle were phased out. At that time, there were no comparison, no challenges. But today, when electrical vehicle somebody is trying to adopt, he has got comparison with the petrol or diesel driven vehicles. Where quick acceleration is very important for youngsters, they want quick acceleration. For a person of my age, when we are overtaking, suddenly some vehicle comes from the front side, on the rear side also there is vehicle. I have to accelerate and I have to get pass through very quickly. Today's electrical vehicle fails here. Another thing, the charging time. My fossil fuel based vehicle, petrol or diesel, I go to the refill station. Maximum I have to wait for 15-20 minutes if there is a queue. Normally it takes 5 to 10 minutes. Say it takes 20 minutes maximum, and I am again ready to run for 300, 500, 600 kilometers, whatever is the capacity of the fuel tank. Now, whereas against this, electrical vehicle takes 4 to 8 hours of the charging. That is again a negative impact. Another impact is that the storage, energy storage part, it has got life of about 3.5 years or 4 years, or sometimes it is now in case of tuk-tuk, which is used in Delhi, which is using lead acid battery, has got battery life of only 8 months. So there are two things involved with this. First thing is that the lead pollution or lithium pollution is more severe than petroleum pollution. That is one thing. Second thing is that life of the energy storage device is very less. The life is to be enhanced. The thermal runaway, when I was being introduced, the Boeing Dreamliner case, Japan Airlines 2 explosions were there, lithium battery, and Air India 1 explosion was there. The Japan Airline case was analyzed by Boeing, International Federation of Aviation Authority, and Japan Airlines, whereas the Air India case was analyzed by myself, because Dr. Joseph Shooter, the chief designer of Boeing, he was my PhD guide, myself and Boeing. And our findings were much more accurate than Japan Airlines. So it was thermal runaway of the battery. So thermal management of the battery is again big challenge. All these are electrical issues. Another thing is that the graph which is taught to us, it's a 3-segment graph: electrical traction, acceleration, posting, and regenerative braking. This theory is wrong. I had published it in IEEE long back, and IEEE has accepted it. The corrected theory introduced by me is accepted. IEEE has named it as Dr. Ujike's theory of electric traction, and very soon it will be taught worldwide. It has to be a 5-segment graph. Reason is that when you talk of acceleration directly, you are ignoring Newton's first law. So it has to be static inertia, acceleration, coasting, a small part of regenerative braking, and you cannot depend on solely regenerative braking, but you have to have a small part of the mechanical braking. So it is not a 3-segment graph, but it's a 5-segment graph. The theory itself taught is wrong, and that needs to be corrected, which will be corrected very shortly. By around next year it will be introduced. So what happens here, as the 3 different segments are there, the energy demand is different. So there are 38 types of batteries, energy storage devices, as on today known and used in various segments. Maybe submarine, maybe frigate, maybe aircraft, maybe electric vehicle, or maybe stationary storage or other things. But one technology exhibits only one characteristic, whereas in case of electrical vehicle, you need 3 different characteristics. Obviously, you have to select 3 different technology combinations with proper battery management system, and that is my patent, where I have got supremacy throughout the world. So energy storage, management of the energy storage device, All these things are very important in case of electrical vehicle. Another important thing is that you see lot many mechanics garages are there who are handling the failure of the petrol or diesel vehicle. In the future, such garages must be equipped with expertise and equipment to rectify, diagnosis and set right the electrical vehicle problems. So that is a great opportunity. So electrical vehicle, there are challenges and there are opportunities. Again, of course, this is not a new technology. It dates back to Tesla. Tesla has long back exhibited that high power can be transmitted from one place to another place without using connecting wires or conductors. Tesla had exhibited it, but unfortunately, the great scientist Tesla was dominated and ignored. And whatever great work Tesla has done, I sincerely feel as an electrical engineer, I do not know even 1% of the work which Tesla had done. Such a great man and such a great contribution Tesla has done to the electrical engineering field. In 2006, there was International Technical Forum. I was invited, and in the forum, various topics, new inventions are presented. There were people from NASA, three experts were there. They had demonstrated that in the sky, in the open atmosphere or in the space, energy, big station, energy stations, so photovoltaic energy stations will be installed. Energy will be collected because it will be 24 hours sunshine, uninterrupted power you will be getting, no cloud, no rain or no shadow. So obviously there will be 24 hours power generation, and by microwave it will be transmitted to any desired point on the earth. So that presentation was given, but still today it has not become a reality. It is a concept only at the laboratory scale, but it has not become a practice. Of course, the Tesla's work can solve this problem. Now, this wireless transfer is adopted as on today for charging of the electrical vehicles. It has become a common. Now, instead of connecting a charging cable to the vehicle, it is wireless. The vehicle goes there, on the ground there is a point, vehicle goes, stops there, and without any direct wire connectivity, the vehicle battery gets charged. For our mobile sets also, such wireless chargers are available. So this wireless transfer of electricity, not only for high power transmission, but for charging of the electrical vehicle and mobile handset or other equipments, is going to be a great future. Robotics. As I said, the complexity in grid is increasing. Now, you just imagine Padga to Chandrapur HVDC line. It is passing through mountains and all that. During rainy season, if anything happens, monitoring the fault or diagnosing the fault or pinpointing the fault point is a very risky as well as tedious job, because human cannot reach there. And to reach the human, it takes a lot of time. So obviously grid failure gets extended. So early detection of the fault, for that purpose, to reach or to monitor the entire line very quickly without any advantage. Now here robotics comes into picture. Now maintenance also, say high voltage yard, something is to be maintained, risk is there. I have seen at Manmad 132 kV substation, it was a simple activity. The fan below the transformer was being changed. The fan had failed. The 2-3 artisans, they artisan for a lot of time. They were below the transformer. Obviously, one person when he came out, he tried to stretch his body. He was holding a spanner and he raised his hand. Moment he raised his hand, you imagine the 132 kV line which was coming to the transformer. His spanner went in the vicinity of the 132 line. Within no time, I was standing in the guest house lobby in the morning, having breakfast and cup of coffee. I witnessed it with my own eyes within fraction of a time. ज्याला म्हणतो आपण की पापणी लवते न लवते एवढ्या वेळात he was converted to ash. So such risks are there. Climbing the pole, again that is a risk. One is the climbing the pole is a physical risk, as well as if the static electricity is there, that is second risk, and accidental charging of the line or multiple feed, one or two sides are tripped but another feed is not tripped, then again such hazards are there. So in such case, robots come to the rescue of the human element. Again I said, in the difficult terrain where human cannot reach or access very easily, along with the robot, the next point, one of the point will be there, drones. Now drones are also being used. So drones, they fly throughout the terrain, they detect, they have got various cameras, especially one more topic is should have been included in this FDP. That is my suggestion, madam, that it is the thermal imaging, the condition monitoring in the electrical field. I have not, I've gone through the entire list of the topic, but this condition monitoring is missing. For condition monitoring, these robots and drones can be used, I mean they are being used in foreign countries, which has got thermal cameras, and fault is diagnosed and it is rectified by the robot. So which is called continuous monitoring, that increases the MTBF, mean time between failure, and if failure takes place, MTTR, mean time to restore, that is minimized. So in every technology, in every walk of life, MTBF and MTTR, these are the two important terminologies, and these robotics and drones, they provide you solution to this. Renewable energy, no need to talk much about it. There are various types of biodegradation is there. At Pirangut, I have designed one system, Mawar rice straw that was being burnt, like Punjab, the same problem was there. MNRE gave, through MEDA, they gave that problem to me. It is biodegraded, it is methane, CH4 is generated, it is scrubbed, purified to more than 99%, bottled, and it is sold as agro CNG or bio CNG. In 2017, it was inaugurated at the hands of Nitin Gadkari sir, Honorable Minister, and still it is working. Any vehicle which is operating on fossil CNG that comes there, it is filled with this bio CNG and it runs. No modification is required, no change is required in the vehicle. It is a direct substitute. So what are the advantages of this? One is pollution is avoided. Methane is one of the greenhouse gas that is avoided. Third thing, landfill, MSW, municipal solid waste. Landfill is a big problem in urban areas or everywhere. Every city has got problem. So that landfill can be avoided. If you go to Vyara near Surat, one Mr. Parikh, Dharmendra Parikh, he is operating that plant. He is handling the complete MSW of the Surat Corporation, and he is converting it to various energy sources and product, which is not only avoiding the pollution, it is conforming to the clean development mechanism, it is conforming to carbon neutrality, as well as it is avoiding landfilling also, and it is addressing the clean energy issue also. Now here in renewable energy, various types are there. Bioenergy is there, solar is there, hydropower is there, wind is there. sea waves are there, geothermal is there. In northeast Iceland, I have seen these geothermal plants. It was, I think, 740 or 780 megawatt plant. Water goes through the boring, it goes underground, and steam comes out. The geothermal energy is used, it's absolutely silent and beautiful power generation things. Another thing I have seen, thermal tower in Australia, where the thermosiphon effect of the hot air that is used to generate the power, it is such a gigantic one, it generates 230 megawatt power. I got a video on that also. I captured a video there. Another thing is sea waves. And at Sindhudurg, MEDA, Maharashtra Energy Development Agency, they are establishing one pilot plant. Pelamis are used. Pelami is a company, and their technology is called, now that has been taken over by a Chinese company. So generating due to tides and sea waves, that is another. Every kilometer length of the seashore, you can generate 15 megawatt of the power. Imagine how much length of seashore India is blessed with and how much power we can generate. It will be absolutely a clean power, carbon neutral power. Another thing is coming up is hydrogen economy. Here also I got one more patent, green hydrogen. All people are generating hydrogen using a clear water, but my patent is generation of the green hydrogen using sea water. So sea water is because water is becoming scarce day by day. So these are the various renewable energy technologies. About the technology, I won't talk much. What are the challenges? Smart grid is using renewable, but one important term is ignored. Today our Prime Minister is talking, Energy Minister is talking, Maharashtra Chief Minister is talking, Saur Vahini and all that we will migrate to 54%, 60% of the renewable. But the major technical point is ignored. Hosting factor is the term. A simple example I'll tell you. If it is a 200 liter barrel, I add 1 liter or I remove 1 liter. It makes very less impact. It is insignificant. From 1 liter I go to 2 liters. I go to 5 liters, 10 liters, 20 liters, 40 liters. So as I go on withdrawing or adding larger volume, it has severe impact. Now renewable is always unpredictable. It is not a continuous power. At wind energy, for example, at one instant it will be full power, at next instant it may be zero. Solar PV also the same thing. So in such case, if you are solely depending on renewable power injected to the grid, it will lead to total grid failure. Now if the generation is less, it will be low frequency trip. If the generation is high, it will be high frequency trip, as I explained in the beginning, cascaded failure. So nobody is taking into account this hosting factor. That is a very silly and poor condition. Now what is the solution to that? When Piyush Goyal was the MNRE minister, he made one policy. I opposed him, I advised him, but he did not listen to that. He made that I will in open access policy, because open access policy and net metering policy is drafted by me for MERC. Now what he has done, when I inject to the grid, I will be paid at the base rate. But when I draw from the grid, I will be charged at the commercial rate. It's a injustice. I requested him not to implement that, but he did not follow. But later on, when he became the railway minister, he was affected due to this. Again he called me. He said, Doctor, this has happened. I said, sir, आपने अपने पाव पर खुद कुल्हाडी मारली आहे. तुम्हीच तुमच्या पायावर कुऱ्हाड मारून घेतलेली आहे. त्याला आता उपाय काय? नहीं, अब कुछ तो solution बताइए. The solution which I have suggested him is, now Ashwin Kumar is following that. Instead of feeding, because Modi on another side has declared all the railway stations rooftop, they will be converted to photovoltaic. Now when this rooftop generation is there, where to inject? If it is injected to the grid and if it is again drawn from the grid, it will be a loss. It will be a loss making deal. Now what I suggested, anyhow Indian Railway is going to be electrified 100%. It's an ocean. Your energy demand is so huge. As much you pump in, presently it is ready to absorb. So instead of feeding this platform rooftop generation to the grid, you directly inject it to the overhead traction, 25 kV electric traction. The first experiment was done in 2018 at New Delhi, platform number 2. 10 kilowatt experiment was done and it was successful. Now it is being followed throughout the country. And the platform rooftop generation is directly fed to the railway traction grid instead of exporting it to the national grid. Now here again one Mr. Nagesh Pandey, who was a senior superintendent engineer in MSCB. After voluntary retirement, he was professor in our Gokhale Engineering College. And another Mr. Sanjeev Sukrikar, who retired as senior chief engineer electrical from Indian Railway. Both are doing PhD on this topic. Means from one section to another section, how the power exchange can be done. So this is an academic opportunity also, there is a business opportunity also. Battery technology, already I said, very good information I would like to share with you. Number one battery technologist of the world is Indian, he is Maharashtrian, he is Dr. Ashok Joshi. तर्कतीर्थ लक्ष्मण शास्त्री जोशी यांचा सख्खा पुतण्या वाईचा. He is number one battery technologist of the world. He has settled in Seattle, USA. Now he is American citizen. He in 1971-73 he tried to come back to India, but because of the useless policy of India government and Maharashtra government, he got fed up and he went back to US and he has settled in US. Had it been present government, he would not have gone back. You will be surprised. He is advisor to President of US, top 10, one of the top 10 advisor. All NASA energy storage devices are developed and designed by him, and the pacemaker battery which is used throughout the world for heart, that pacemaker battery is Dr. Ashok Joshi's patent. So it's a matter of pride, and there is a huge opportunity in research about the battery technology, especially Indian Oil Corporation. They are working at Calcutta on aluminum air battery, metal air batteries are going to the future. Faradian of UK, Hina from China, they had developed a sodium battery. Faradian has been taken over by Ambani, but he has not launched it in the market. I do not know what is the commercial reason, because we cannot be sure of honesty from Ambani Group. The next future is going to be metal air battery. Already they are working on aluminum air battery, but again there are many challenges. It is not going to work right at this stage. I say the future will be iron air battery. Germany is working on that and it is supported by Volkswagen. So metal air batteries are the future. Those who want to conduct any research in that field, you want to do PhD in that field, you have got lot of opportunity in that metal air battery, especially iron air battery. Then augmented reality. Say in aeronautical, in space, these simulators are used for training the pilot or the astronauts. In the similar way, at VRD, Vehicle Research Center at Ahmednagar, which is under Defense Department, they have got a driving simulator. So those who are appointed as driver in army or defense sector, they are first trained on simulator, because directly putting him in Himalayan terrain, it's a very risky factor. The vehicle is at risk as well as the driver is also at risk. So they are trained on simulator. In the similar fashion, in the other field also, such training simulators are emerging. One of the field is electrical engineering. It is augmented reality. Means it is a further advanced stage of virtual reality. Means the situations are created. You are given training. When my introduction was given, one of my invention, firearms training simulator and special weapon tactics simulators, which is developed for the armed forces of India. That is my, where it is a totally software based simulator. It's a AK, say for example, our people were to be trained on AK-47. If they are to fire the ammunition, it is very expensive. So instead of firing a bullet, they will fire a laser beam, and it will be screen. On screen, various scenarios are created, and psychologically and tactics wise, physiologically and reflex wise also, they are trained. So such simulators are being adopted in every field. One of the important field is the electrical, where you have to deal with the different challenging conditions, new situations. Day by day technology is advancing, so you have to get conversant. So human training or human trainer is inadequate. So there such simulators are there, and that is helping us, and that is one of the application of augmented reality. Autonomous system is independent. That part, say particular substation is there or something, you will be surprised. Near Sinnar, Nasik to Sinnar, Naigaon is a place. Naigaon substation was the first station which was remote controlled from Sinnar substation in India. Very few electrical engineers even know, or even MSCB people know about it. Now what is the trend? That substation, it will be functioning normally. Of course, it will be driven by AI. It will be driven by IIoT. All these things are obviously there. So it will keep on monitoring. Say demand is more, obviously the substation will switch on the transformers. If the demand is less, it will switch off the transformers. All these things which are manually controlled at present, that will be done with total automation, which is driven by AI. And in case of fault, it goes into islanding. Especially when renewable energy is taking place, it is a very important thing. So one term, I do not know whether you know it, soft grid and stiff grid. Say when I am connecting my domestic rooftop, say I got a 10 kilowatt system, rooftop system at my house, I have connected it to the grid. Now grid is a soft grid. Say 10 kilowatt comes in, goes out, it matters least for it. As hosting factor I have said. But for me, if my 10 kilowatt system is loaded to 11 kilowatt, then it will char. Or if there is a reverse feed, it will conk off. So it is a stiff grid. My 10 kilowatt system is a stiff grid, and now in stiff and soft, frequency stiff, frequency soft, voltage stiff, voltage soft. Of course, it is again a separate full session issue. I won't go into the details. So in such case, the autonomous systems now present string inverters. What happens? It keeps on monitoring the grid. If anything abnormal, it goes into islanding. When the situation resumes to normal, again it gets connected to it. That is called grid availability factor. It is not that I have installed some system and I have connected it to the grid. So entire generation is pumped into the grid. It doesn't. There are conditions when my string inverter or grid inverter goes into islanding. It gets isolated for protection. It is called autonomous system. Now for LT, grid availability factor is very poor, which is 37 to 43%. When I go to 11 kV, it gets enhanced to about 60%. With 33 kV, it is further enhanced to about 70-71%. With 132 kV, it is enhanced to around 80-85%. With 200 kV, it is enhanced to 96%. and with 400 kV, it is nearing to the 99%. That is grid availability factor. And this is the reason why large wind farms or solar farms, they are connected to 220 kV or 400 kV, so that maximum power is injected to the grid. So there, this islanding and autonomous operation is very important for the protection purpose. One more topic should have been added to this FDP is the protection systems, modern protection systems. That is also again missing. Now, charging infrastructure, already I said, there are various types of charging infrastructure. One of the client at Delhi, he has developed a charging station which is mounted on Tata 407. It's a mobile one. It has got 4 charging points. So wherever there is a demand, so charging facility is provided on site. Say if some vehicle has failed from Satara to Kolhapur road in Ghat section, it has failed. So this vehicle mobile charger charging van, it will reach there, it will charge it so that the vehicle need not be towed. Or say at Cup Parade in Mumbai, if every occupant of the multi-storied building, he buy an EV and he is connecting in the evening for charging, do you feel that the grid can sustain this demand, excess demand? There is no possibility, because there is no scope to add the size of the cable or augment the supply condition. So there you have to have an independent charging station which is a standalone type. So such challenges are there, various solutions are there. In Europe, if you go to any 5-star hotel, I have seen, if you have got electrical vehicle, your parking is free. And if your vehicle is petrol or diesel based, they charge you €10 per day, per 24 hours. So this is how they are encouraging, and they have provided a charging infrastructure. Now in offices, organizations, the parking, say you are going to the college. Now, let us consider the example of Nasik Road Polytechnic. Some 25 or 30 staff, they have got electrical EV four-wheeler. Many other have two-wheeler. When you are coming in the morning, then you are parking your vehicle at the parking point. Charging facility is to be provided, so that by the time in the evening you finish your shift and you go back, maybe academic, maybe industry, so your vehicle will be charged. So charging facility at parking, charging facility at the residence, all this is to be there. But again, one case is there. Delhi auto rickshaws, tuk-tuk, they were operating throughout the day. The rickshaw fellow will go home, he will connect it to the domestic supply and charge it again next time. They sue Delhi Electric Supply Undertaking. They filed a case in Delhi High Court that it's because it comes under theft of power. He is using rickshaw for commercial purpose, whereas for charging he is using a domestic power. So it comes under theft of power as per Indian Electricity Act 2003. And these people lost the case. But again, due to Gadkari's intervention and his interest, the case is kept aside. But the charging station, if it is a commercial one, it has to be a commercial charging station, commercial tariff charging station. If it is a domestic, it is a personal use thing. Drones, I already explained, for various activities it is used. For say somebody is working in a remote place and then he finds that some insulator or some connector or some particular hardware is not he is having with me. Again, coming back to the base or the store and taking it back consumes lot of time. So drones are used for making reach the stock or the hardware to any remote site. So various applications are there. Energy saving, it is called a mantra. It may be domestic, industrial, public utility, educational, academia, whatever it may be. everywhere you have to save the energy. When you want to save the energy, you have to schedule it. And means when you are going to operate it. One example, typical example I'll tell you. I being advisor to MERC, Maharashtra Electricity Regulatory Commission, Bombay peak hour and rest of the India peak hour are totally different. Bombay peak hour is office hours. It is not morning or evening. Reason is that every establishment has got air conditioner, and throughout the day air conditioner load is on, and that leads to the peak power. Now the suppliers, utility players, there are four players, 4 or 5 players. Every time they demand price hike. And one of the case they presented was, they said the ABCD tariff is a peak hour and off peak hour demand. There is a wide gap. They have to buy the power depending on the peak demand. But off peak hour, they buy the power, but there is no demand, so there is no revenue generation, so there is a loss. Because electricity is such a commodity which does not have shelf life. You use it, generate it, you use it or you lose it. That is a typical characteristic of electricity. What I said at that time, those who are having air conditioner load of 500 kilowatt and above, they should be encouraged for ice banking with little modification. With Voltas and Blue Star, we adopted it. 100 consumers came forward. So during off-peak hours, say midnight, night 12 o'clock to morning 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, it's a very low tariff. Those consumers will draw the power, maximum power they will draw. They will use it for ice banking, means either glycol liquid or converting it to the ice. And during peak hours, major part of the cooling load is offset by this ice banking. I have published a separate article on that. You will be surprised, that has caught up so much that people are in queue now. Because first thing is that you are paying lowest tariff. Second thing, MERC declared 1 rupee per kWh incentive. You get incentive on whatever power you consume during off-peak hours. So due to this, all those 100 customers were happy, and now there are many more who are in queue for that. So this was one of the methods, and utility was very happy because the gap has been mitigated. So peak hour demand was reduced, off peak hour demand was increased. So it has to be, as it should be a straight line theoretically, but it can never be a straight line practically. But the gap has to be minimum, and by this method it has been achieved. Second thing is the Bureau of Energy Efficiency. You all know, for those diploma holders, you can be energy manager. There are 3 papers, and those who are degree holders, maybe any engineering discipline, civil, mechanical, electrical, any engineering discipline, you can appear for this examination, Bureau of Energy examination, and you can be energy auditor. Now there has been a list of designated customers published by Bureau of Energy Efficiency. It is mandatory to have an energy manager on payroll. So that is an opportunity for you. As an energy auditor, you can be a consultant, you can be an energy auditor. I am very happy to share with you, India's #1 energy auditor and #1 power quality analyzer is from Nasik, Professor Dr. B. Kushare, Head of Electrical Department, KK Bagh Engineering College. And you will be surprised, his consultancy exceeds more than 12 crores rupees, 12 to 14 crores per year. So all printing industries, petroleum industries are his clients. So there is a wide scope to be energy auditor and energy manager. And when you buy, it is said that sasta rohe bar bar, mehenga rohe ek bar. Hello. So there was an ad on TV that one Mr. Patil purchased a TV and air conditioner. Looking at him, say another person was Kulkarni. His wife also insisted, so he also purchased the same thing. But when electricity bill came, Kulkarni was very unhappy. Reason is that Patil had purchased the equipment with star rating, more the star, 1 star, 2 star to 5 star. More the stars, more the energy efficient. It means it consumes less of the electricity, and if you buy a cheap product, it will consume more power. So over a period of time, you will be paying more. Now the terminology is not only the initial cost, but it is the capex plus opex. Operating cost is to be taken into account. So such energy efficient devices are encouraged now. So always when you buy maybe a washing machine, maybe microwave, maybe a tube light, or a bulb, or maybe an air conditioner or any equipment, be careful and insist that you go for maximum star rating. So 3 star, 4 star, 5 star, because you save a lot of electricity, you save money that rolls out from your pocket, as well as you save money that rolls out from the revenue of the nation. The last point, which is a project management software, say this is very important because anything you do, it may be a smart grid, it may be renewable energy, it may be energy saving. What you have to do is project management, and you have to have certain softwares. You can develop the software. Some key factors I will explain you. One is the project flow chart, per chart, definition of risk factor, and mitigation strategy, means mitigation of the risk factor. This is very important. Now here, how the project is to be designed, if you ignore certain points, what happens? What is the impact of it? This is a particular PV case, because by now I have designed more than 960 megawatt plants altogether. So you are aiming at 1000 kWh from that plant per day. Now, first is the module mismatch and deviation from the rated capacity. The modules are to be selected properly, they are to be matched properly. So if you ignore that, then you come down to 960 kWh. The next fact is the temperature derating. I said the Sabarmati Canal project is brainchild, my brainchild as well as my design. What happened? I observed it's heart of the city, no big transmission line, investment losses. It is heart of the city, point of generation, point of utilization is close in the vicinity. Then radiation is good, but the temperature is high. But if it is installed on canal rooftop, first thing is that it leads to cooling effect. So I get more generation by controlling the heating factor. At the same time, if the canal surface is covered, the evaporation of water is avoided. So I save, I conserve water also. So this temperature degrading is not considered. If it is not handled properly, again you come down to 864 kWh. Drift and soiling loss, the dirt and soiling loss. Means the cleaning, automated cleaning is a must. Mechanized cleaning is a must. Robotic cleaning. Again, robots are also used here also. So if the cleaning is done, again you come down. You are losing, and you come down to 847. Then wiring, DC wiring loss. Normally what happens, the cable is very critically designed, and that leads to I square R loss, and again that takes away your power. So you have come down to 834. This is one typical case I have considered. Then inverter. Selection of the inverter is very important. It is not only the brand, but it is the quality of the inverter, type of the inverter, and the technology of the inverter. You have to select it, you have to adopt it, you have to install it correctly. If it is not done, if it is ignored, then you come down to 972 kWh. Then AC wiring, because again you are connecting it to the grid. That is ignored. Again, that loss adds to it, and say you are aiming at 1000 kWh, but you ended up with 776. Means almost 25% you are losing. So these are the various important factors we have to take into consideration. Any project, this is a typical again PV project I am presenting here. You have to have a flow chart. See, when we were taught computer programming, the first step we were asked to prepare a flow chart, activity flow chart. And nowadays, that practice is not there. I find faculties and students, they have ignored this flow chart part, and this is a suicidal step. Please do not ignore it. Any activity, it may be teaching, annual plan of the teaching schedule, it could be a project, anything, prepare a flow chart. I always say, so if there are girls, I say you are preparing dal. वरण बनवायचं तुम्हाला, फ्लो चार्ट बनवा. घरी जायचं, a student from the institute he has to go home, prepare a flow chart. So this is how you have to practice. To faculties also I will appeal the same thing. You take any problem, make it a practice to prepare the flow chart of every activity. Now here what happens, what are the activities? Because if you do not prepare this, then suddenly you come across a dead end or a checkmate and you start scratching your head and the project gets delayed, project quality deteriorates, or the project totally fails. One of the great example is Sakri Nandurbar project, 150 megawatt, first nation's biggest PV project. It was to be fully commissioned, 150 megawatt was to be commissioned in 2008, but still today it is not fully commissioned. Reason is that risk factors, other factors, they were ignored. The land was belonging to forest, land was belonging to Adivasis, that was the cause. Second thing, if you see the profile of the land, for such project, it has to be a tabletop land. To go actually to the site, you will find it's a mini version of Chambal Ghati. It's a most uneven. Per megawatt, it is consuming 11.5 acres. Whereas today's advanced technology, 3.5 to 4 acres per megawatt land is required. So all these things leads to disastrous thing, loss of the project, loss of the technology, loss of the generation, project failure, delay of the project, and so many difficulties. So always prepare a project flow chart. So you will diagnose it, you will predict every possibility, and you will have a remedial measure right at the beginning itself. Then risk factor and mitigation of risk. What are the risk factors? Like I said, that Nandurbar project, Sakri project, they did not define this risk factor. Adivasi land, forest land, uneven land, all these things, KPMG was the consultant. And KPMG doesn't have their own experts. They hire some person and they pay very low fees. Obviously, the quality of the consultant is also low and it leads to such disastrous failure. So one is the technology risk. What is the severity of it? Define it. And what you are going to do to mitigate that. So this is one for one particular client which I have prepared. Then market risk. Now one example I'll tell you, Bhau Jain, Jalgaon. Mr. Shetty of Mozarbeer, he advised him to set up a plant of PV panel manufacturing. And according to his advice, he set up a plant of 25 megawatt per year capacity. Then there was no market. The stocks were piled up. He called me, because I had very good friendship with him. So he called me, Om Prakash, what shall I do? My stocks are piled up, I am running in loss. So what should I do? I am thinking of closing it down. I said, you cannot compete with Wari, Vikram and all these people. You enter into application field. And I gave him the consultancy. solar pumps example, because they are already in irrigation. I said you are already in irrigation, you are well established. So solar pump if you introduce, it will be accepted by the farmers. He had very good government contact also. So by such application, he could enter the market and the market risk was very. Otherwise, you generate the power, but whom to you are going to sell it? Unless that PPA, power purchase agreement is there, it's a loss. Financial risk. Now, if you are going for foreign investment, again there also the problem is same. The foreign investment, the dollar rate goes up and down. So today, when you have taken loan, dollar might be 60 rupees, but when you are repaying it, dollar may be 85 rupees. So you have to take into consideration such factors. Various factors are there. Then the cost may increase, may come down. Then operational risk. Now, what are the operational? I always insist on CMC. I never go for AMC, annual maintenance contract. I don't trust. I go in for comprehensive maintenance contract. What? Because when I draft the tender document, for example, bid Osmanabad project 40 megawatt, it was augmented to 75 megawatt. I did not mention anything about the technology because pre-bid meeting at Taj Lands and Bandra, I handled it, international pre-bid meeting. The people, bidders, they said, sir, you are not mentioned about the technology, monocrystalline poly. I said, I have nothing to do with the technology. It is your discretion. I am not concerned with which technology you are using. You are using plywood or you are using galvanized sheet. I am concerned with the power generation. How much power you are going to give me? That is point of my interest as a Mahajanko. So these are the important things, operational risk and all that. Otherwise, it leads to huge loss. Like at Nandurbar, Sakri, they selected amorphous technology for 50 megawatt because one segment is of 20 megawatt. You will be surprised, in 25 megawatt, there was breakage of about 4.5 megawatt. So this is the how wrong technology is selected. This is how it leads to loss, and operational loss are there. See, per chart I said you have to prepare how many days it is going to take. It is from the zero you have to take it. Some activity may start in the third week, some activity may start in second week. So like that you have to prepare it, and you have to have a per chart like this. So that was an Excel sheet, and this is how graphically it is represented. Say site survey, all this thing, documentation, everything. So this all care has to be taken. This is called project planning, and nowadays various softwares are available. Control theory and industrial controls. Already it has been covered. Remote control, robotic control, AI-based control, drone control, industrial automation, IoT, they have become essential part of it, and you have to be conversant, you have to be acquainted with all these technologies. But when all these technologies come, the last point which I am going to discuss is the cyber security. Nowadays, everybody talks about AI. You are well aware, if you use some China-based software, every data is going to China. Please do not use any ready-made, maybe American, maybe German, maybe Chinese. Don't use any foreign AI tool. Develop your own AI tool, because once you use their AI tool, you are at their control. They can attack your system anytime. Like say my laptop, it can be hacked, and he can play anything with my data. So in this similar way, this AI is a double-edged weapon. So if it is not used properly, and if it is not independent, our own. One example I'll tell you, GPS we are using. If I am to go to Nasik Road Polytechnic, I do not know the exact location, then Deshpande madam will send me location and I follow it. But it is an American software. During war, Pakistan war, America refused to give us data of GPS about Pakistan movements. At that time, ISRO started developing, and today ISRO has launched its own navigation satellite. Navik is the software which is developed by ISRO, whereas the accuracy of the GPS, American GPS, is 17 meters, and ISRO Navik is 3 meters. That is used by Indian Railway also. Kavach means to avoid the rear ramming or head-on collision. So this is thing. It is used for agriculture, all these things. So ISRO is giving all this security, which is totally Indian indigenous. So whenever you are using any algorithm, AI, IoT, IIoT, please, or industrial automation, please be careful that you are always, if you are using some foreign tool, you are liable or you are susceptible for hacking or attack. And the entire smart grid, it depends on algorithm. If this algorithm is attacked by some foreign agency or unscrupulous agencies, then it can lead to a total failure, total collapse of the power grid system. And say it can, the power grid means it is not only industrial, but it will be, all activities will be at loss. Your airports will go dark, and your say Air Force, Navy, Army, everything will be at risk. So cyber security is very important. No doubt IoT, AI, everything, they are very good tools, they are blessings, but they are all double-edged weapons. If you do not take care, it will be a suicidal thing for you. So these are the various trends in recent trends in electrical engineering. I tried to cover all of them in given limited time. So I thank Nasik Road, MS Gosavi Polytechnic, MSBT, for inviting me and sharing my experience with you. Now I am open to question and answers. Sir, madam, हॅलो.
Yes, sir. Yes,
हा,
sir.
कोणाला काही प्रश्न असेल तर विचारू शकतात.
कुणाला
Yes, if
प्रश्न
anybody
असेल तर
have any
विचारा.
questions, then please discuss with our speaker.
प्रश्न आहे का विचारा. अरे हे स्टॉप रेकॉर्डिंग करायला लावलंय सरांनी, करू क्वेश्चन झाल्यावर करू. मॅडमला म्हणा रिमाइंडर द्या, कोणाला क्वेश्चन आहे का सांगा ना. नवले मॅडमला म्हणा, बोला ना.
काही प्रश्न नाहीत कोणाला. हॅलो.
हॅलो सर, वाटतं नाहीये कोणाला क्वेश्चन.
ठीक आहे, मग शॅल वी स्टॉप.
यस सर, यस.
Just a minute, madam.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Madam, conclude session, please.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for this enlightening session. The topics you have covered, that is electric vehicle, charging infrastructure, that is battery technology, wireless transmission of electricity, then energy efficiency, robotics, renewable energy, artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, and lastly the mitigation techniques. All topics you have covered. I'm sure all of us have gained valuable insights into the recent trends in electrical engineering. So once again, thank you so much, sir.
हां राम सर, हॅलो.
मॅडम, आणखीन एक रिक्वेस्ट आहे, या 3 दिवसाच्या ह्याच्यात जर तुम्हाला
बोला सर.
कुठे स्लॉट मिळाला तर
हॅलो.
कंडिशन मॉनिटरिंग हा एक आजच्या काळातला फार महत्वाचा इश्यू आहे इलेक्ट्रिकल मधला.
Ah,
हां सर, बोला.
तर
okay,
तो
sir.
ह्या टॉपिक याच्यात कुठेच नाही आहे.
हां हां लगेच
Okay,
करू
sir.
का.
तर जर 3 दिवसामध्ये कुठेही असेल तर फक्त
ओके.